Hey everyone, I'm going to do a special broadcast today. Thanks for joining. We'll see how many folks come in to play, and we're going to go through the indicators, some of the stuff I do in the live room. Some of you have seen this, but I thought it would be good. We've been getting a lot of questions about the indicators and how to use them. Some interesting setups on the page here, so we'll get going here in just a few minutes. And you guys have been doing a great job getting over those 1,000 likes. We'll keep the videos. Still going to do a video tonight. This is really a real-time analysis. Let me just bring up some stuff here on the screens right now, and I'll get into what's setting up here and walk you through. I'm just going to go through on screen, so we'll let the room fill up just a little bit. We've got about 40 some folks here. We'll just chat here for a few minutes. So yeah, I just thought this would be kind of interesting to do. We just had a lot of questions. A lot of you have actually gotten the indicators, and we're starting to get a little bit of a sell-off here. Let me go full screen, and we'll just start to get right into this as we get going here. Yeah, so on the 1 minute, I've got a number of things set up here, and I'll just tell you a little bit what I've got on here. I've got PPM 1, 2, and 3. This is a 1 minute chart on the right hand side. This is my day trade setup. On the right hand side is a 5 minute chart, and we've got market grid on both the 5 minute and the 1. We also have the price ratio indicator, so we're looking at targets. So what's being generated from the patterns. I'm going to show you a number of things here and setting up pivots, a whole bunch of other things like that. So we'll talk a little bit. Markets had a pretty good rally going. We looked at, I talked about last night in the YouTube video, an S1, R1. We basically got that type of action. So we'll just kind of, I think, just grinding out right now because everybody's sitting here. It's Wednesday coming into Thursday. You get, GDP, you get a whole bunch of numbers coming out tomorrow. I'll talk about that later. So yeah, so what we're seeing here on the setup here is, like I said, we've got the fib ratio on here, which is one of the indicators. There's 9 indicators, and for the most part, intraday I have a script that I've been giving out, but it's a one indicator. So I have the moving averages that I use here are 10, 21, 40, and then I also have the 200. The 200 is in orange. We've got red, cyan, and green, 10, 21, 40. And I also have the webs on here. So I'll expand this out just so you can see the webs a little bit better. But and I'll just talk about as the patterns unfold, I'll show you how to read some of these. No, Ed Force, I see your comments. You know, if you made a profit, you're never selling early, brother. It's all good. You know, you trade them when you trade them, and as long as you have more winners and actually, you don't need more winners and losers. You just need your ratios to be right. That's for another conversation. But anyway, what we're seeing here right now on the 1 minute, we're starting to see crossovers. You can see the webs are starting to get that's why I call them webs, is it starts to look like spider webs, and there's different patterns that's set up here. So we're getting a little bit of an upward pattern here. But we start looking at the PPMs and what they're telling us about the moving averages. And I talk about this every night in commentary, but this is real time. So the dynamics are changing all the time. And so we're seeing on the left-hand side, the 5-minute chart, we're seeing this thing set up where the PPM1 is about to go through its second derivative. It's actually slightly positive. The numbers in red here are the actual numbers. And when you're looking at these indicators, you have to move the decimal over 1 point on the intraday. And I haven't figured out, I guess there is a way to code it for intraday. But anyway, we'll watch the webs are setting up, and I'm going to draw in some patterns that we look at. And there's a pretty interesting pattern setting up here, and I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about here. So this is a pattern I talk about all the time. Let me just get rid of this, get to a easier color to see. This is a potential, what I call a 1, 2, 3 ABC, where we start to project where the next pattern will come out. And the way we're going to see all this is what type of pattern marks we get. So, and I'll explain this as I go through. You'll see over here on the left-hand side, these little red arrow. You'll see a green. These are pivot points that are being marked by the indicator to tell you exactly where the pivots are happening. So I'm going to stick only to the day trading with these indicators right now. I'm not going to do any extra analysis. Not going to be on for 3 hours, probably an hour. But I want you folks to see this stuff. So you can see this pattern setting up here as well on the 1 minute. And you also see up here these dots. These are the price projections off of this pattern. It's already been picked up. So it's suggesting that we're going to one of these 3 layers here right now. And we do not have an objective built in right now on the 5 minutes. So let me just take this off for a second so you can see everything that I'm talking about here. I want to go up on the indicators here, and on the so I just put the pattern finder on the 5 minutes so you can see the blue lines where it's marking these patterns. So automatically mark all this stuff. And then all I want to do now is on here is go to settings, and I'm going to turn on show pivots because I want to see the pivots and where they're occurring. And so you can see we're already moving up toward this objective here. This was the pattern I was just talking about a second ago. I just want you to start to see this stuff, and a couple things that are happening here. And this will be great, a quick tutorial for day trading. This is my classic setup, a 1 minute and 5 minute. So basically we're taking the 5 minute bar and breaking it down in 5 pieces and trying to fine tune some of the activity here. A couple things are likely to happen on this chart as we go through here. So let me mark up a couple things here so you can see exactly where this is the pattern I'm just talking about. What we're looking for now is where the pattern recognition tool along with the fib projection tool will potentially put some targets up here for this rally if it's going to materialize. We've already got it on the 1 minute. right now we're looking at 41, 39, 42 is the high projection up here. So 39's in here, looking for potential for this to run up. And it's interesting because there's a number of patterns here on the webs as well. When we topped out, we got what we call a veil top, and then we got into a very steep pattern, which is basically, it's called a rope. And this gives us some momentum. We had the inverse happening. You can see where the targets are being on the far left-hand side on the way up to this pattern. And then you can see where PPM started to break down as we're getting confirmations across the board that things were rolling over. So let me get rid of all this. So what we want to watch for, a couple things. The PPMs over here on the 1, we need to accelerate where we start to see breakthrough on all of these indicators. And that will start to set up and confirm this larger pattern that I'm talking about. May not happen, but what you want to do is anticipating these moves into these webs. The webs will be the support levels around 37 right now. Let me, I have to close this tool out to be able to get to some other elements here. So we're trading 38s. Like I said, the target's 40, 42 on the 1 minute. We also have the 200 period moving average on 1 minute at 42.75. So looking for the market to try to move back up. And in real terms, we're looking at a more important number over here on the 5-minute chart, which is these green dots that are coming across right here. This is called a pivot, and that's around 47. It looks like what we're trying to do is to test this pivot level. If we get above that, then we'll retest the high of the session and potentially make a new high. I'm not predicting that's happening, but those would be, if those elements happened where we penetrated through 47 on the upside, that is what it would take for that to happen. So let's clear all this out. So we're still working this pattern on the 1 minute to see if we can get any kind of acceleration. If you notice, PPM 2 is starting to fail, so it's looking like maybe this pattern could fail here. So it's going to take at least a few minutes. Like I said, I'll probably spend an hour with you folks just so you can see how some of these things are setting up here. And if you have questions, yeah, I don't think there's any big flush. There's all the bias is building to the upside here. I know a lot of folks are negative in these markets right now, but we still have bias to the upside here. So trying to build this pattern here on the 1, the 5 minute, we're not getting any real acceleration. What we need to see is more acceleration, and especially on this PPM 3 down here on the left-hand side, I'm drawing in the arrows down at the bottom there. We need to see that. We are getting some acceleration here on PPM 1, but we need all of this stuff to continue to get this pattern to set up, just to get up to test this 200. That would be the level. So it's starting to get a little weak here. We may get a failure. This pattern may not fail. It may fail. We may not get it set up. So we just have to sit here and see what sets up here. But the indicator should start to tell us. We're looking at market grid. We're trading S1 on the 5 minute right now. S2 is here. One of the frustrating things with this tool is I have to take it off. So S2, 35, S3, 34.75. You can see the numbers over here on the right-hand side. This is the grid numbers in here on the 5. So if we go much deeper than this, we cannot take out this low where the pivot is. And that pivot low is 35.50. So if we take out 35.50, this pattern will be a failure. Looks like we're trying to roll down a little bit here. We have this rising 200 that's over here as well on the 5 minute. You see that's rising right here. Still getting some weakness, trying to test that pivot at 35.50. But we just actually took that pivot out. You can see on the screen it actually disappeared in real-time mode. So there has to be another setup here. It's possible we're going to retest this low of this pattern here. Let me clear out a bunch of stuff here. This would be next target. We are right now 2 minutes and 34 seconds away from the update on the 5. And so we're definitely getting a retest coming down. So that pattern failed. And like I said, we were not getting the PPMs to turn up here. We didn't get any type of turn up. So we never got the signal to confirm that trade. We're trading down S3, almost STX on the 5. Yeah, that won't matter, Jeff. I'll be a buyer down to 40.60 on the S&P. Yeah, Bob, this is the trading view indicators. Yes, that's what we're, yeah, so we're just using these things, trying to set up what we're looking for. For any kind of turn here, we're going to need to see these indicators start to turn up a bit. So no action here yet. We still have a pivot here, and we're looking for is a low pivot. Still have this feeling we're going to get this rotation. We're going to test up here at around this 41.70. I'm sorry, 41.45, 47 level. Looking at the moving averages on the 1 minute over here on the left, we're seeing pretty good downward slope here. PPM1 at a 0.05. PPM2 is actually trying to cut through a second derivative. So we're trying to set up a little minor low right here on the 1 minute. See what kind of pattern that we get. So we're going to have to go through a whole new process. Although on the 5 minute, we're still in the pattern that we could set up this 1, 2, 3 pattern. It's a pattern I talk a lot about. 1, 2, 3, ABC. And the math is being done by the indicators. So we're looking for any kind of new indicators on the fib projection tool, looking for any new projections to come out right now. Yeah, okay, we just got a 1 minute objectives right here. We got 3 dots. This is the fib tool, real time, giving you upward projections. And those numbers are 38.25, 38.50. I'm sorry, let me make sure I get the right numbers here. Yeah, so 38.50, 40, and 41. So we're still looking for some kind of upside toward this 200 period moving average on the 1 minute. So what we'll have to see here is that the indicators will start to turn up. The PPMs will start to turn up here on, we'll get some breakouts here. I've just drawn in some lines on these. We'll have to see this happen. So we're starting to get a little bit of movement here. And the big numbers will be over here. We still have a negative numbers across the board on the PPMs over here on PPM 1, 2, and 3 on this. So what we're looking for on all this stuff is some kind of turn up on these indicators, start to cross their first, second derivatives, which will tell us this swing objective is basically a swing trade. And what the indicators are doing is running some understanding the pattern, then actually projecting the pattern in a real-time mode. So like I said, we just hit fib target 1 at 38. The fib target 2 is up here at 40, and then 41.25, and that puts us up close to this 200 day. So a little bit of bias. We're seeing the 5 minute trying to turn up. We're going to have to take out this high over here to actually get the 5 minute to start to rotate and start to look a little more positive. That was a pretty decent sell-off we had earlier from up at the 60 level all the way down. Jonathan, we have institutional reps that actually do handle money that I can introduce you to a couple, and you can decide whether it's somebody you want to do business with, if that's what you're talking about. They actually go to the next level, use PortfolioXpert. So notice that PPMs are starting to turn pretty good here on the 1. So now we're looking for a confirmation over here on the 5. I'm drawing these arrows in, trying to see if we can get them to turn up here. Just about to fib target 2 on the 1 minute. We're trading RTX on the 5 minute. Here's where we at here. We got 8 seconds to go. What we're going to see is the market grid on the 5 minute. I drew in the arrows, should turn up here. That's going to be there they are. That's a good sign. So now all of a sudden we're coming into this 40 period moving average target. So you can see indicators, PPM 2 is turned up a little bit. It's still slightly negative, so we haven't got the turn embedded in here. Let me get rid of something here. Let me get rid of the pattern finder. It's just putting too much noise inside here. But we've got embedded here the moving averages, so we're starting to see it move up. We're going to have a fair amount of resistance at the 40 period moving average. Now this is on a 5 minute chart. So all this stuff is very dynamic when it's happening real time. And I'm talking on the normal YouTube channel. This is something that's happening day to day to day and week to week. When you get into this, all of these dynamics are happening. And I always say the best place to learn these things is like on a 1 minute chart here, because you see the dynamics of how the PPMs work and you get used to them. And if you do get these indicators, really study them, go through the course. We have a 9 video course. I'm going to be expanding that course. And those of you that have already got the indicators will get all the new videos. I'm going to be working on some advanced ideas and concepts in using primarily the PPMs. The PPMs are one of the key elements in everything that I do. And you should figure that out from just watching the YouTube channel. But we basically got up to fib target 2 on the 1 minute now. We're seeing nice acceleration on the 1 minute. You can see PPM 1 is now not quite into trend mode, but is definitely accelerating. We got above first and second derivative on all 3 indicators here on the 1. We still need this PPM 1 over here on the 5 to turn up. When that happens, hopefully we get the confirmation of the 3, at least through the first derivative. That means we're going to test that value up here at the 40. We do not have this on Thinkorswim, just on TradingView, unfortunately. You don't need a paid subscription. You just need the free, and you can use up to, I think you can put on like 3 charts, so you can split things up. You can do a split screen like this, and you can put indicators on each chart, so you can get most of the stuff out there. In the case of what I've got set up right now, there are let's see, 4 or 5 indicators. We have the moving averages, we have the webs, and we have PPM 1, 2, and 3. So we got 26 seconds to go in this 1 minute. What I'd like to see here is that this market grid turns up, and we still have, if you notice, fib target 3 now is right at the 200 period moving average on the 1. We're trading just at R1 on the 5 minute right now. So we're seeing a little positive bias here. I think there's still some work to be done. Still looking at the potential of a pattern like this to set up, okay? And what we'll see, we'll get confirmation from the indicators themselves, is we should see some Fibonacci projections come in off of this pattern. It'll just show up. It'll come up. We got 38 seconds to go on this update for the 5 minute, and we're actually trading almost R3 here. So we just hit the 200. So we hit fib target 3. So 8 minutes ago, we were getting targets for at least a minimum here. Now we're exceeding this. We're coming up on this 40. So this is going to be an interesting update. We got 7 seconds to go. Let's see how this sets up. Yeah, pro subscription is probably best, Bob. And if you want, yeah, but you need the CME real-time access to get the ES quotes. So there is some other subscriptions if you're going to day trade. So we're trading right here. We're getting a little resistance off of this. We'll see if we get any rejection off the 200 here, which is very similar to the 40. I suspect we will come back into the webs here. I'm just drawing in some stuff. We've got some decent upward slope webs here, which tells us there's a mini trend going on. Remember, these are 1 and 5 minute charts that we're looking at. And we do have this resistance right here at the 200. It just traded through it again. We got to get, like I said, we got the update here. We didn't quite get the update on that I was hoping for, where we got the penetration of the second derivative on PPM1. It is just below it. So we need to close above that 40 period moving average. If we get that, then we'll be on the way to that larger pattern that's looking at right here. And so you would be buying into this pattern here at 38.37 was the buy point. And like I said, looking for 47, at least a 47 handle if we're going to get through this level. We're seeing that, look what's happening over here real time. PPM1 is trying to cross back over its first derivative. PPM3 is starting to accelerate. And let me explain what's going on. The dynamics of the three moving averages. Now, these are simple averages, right? But we got, with this getting crossed, it says we're going to test this 10-period moving average, okay? And that's happening already. PPM2 has already crossed this first derivative. We come all the way back into this level where I just drew the indicator, where I just drew the arrow. We could easily come all the way back into here, which is the 40 and 10. There's no real big acceleration happen in this trend, but we were able to, two things happen. We were able to recognize and actually reach these fib targets on the 1 minute. So if you're a scalper, there was a decent scalp, 37, we'll call it 37.40, 3 handle, so not a big trade. These are pretty micro trades. If you're buying 37s, buying into this pattern here, and you're looking at maybe a 10 handle move, 44, 47, up in this range over here where I'm drawing things in. Little reversal off of the 10 here on the 1. There's a couple patterns. I'll just, if you haven't seen some of this stuff before, we'll just talk a little bit about it. Yeah, we're not doing the free month of the trading room. We're just giving the course out. In fact, there's quite a bit of changes coming in around me after my recent trip. There's some things going on that I'm going to be discussing with folks. So those of you that are in the live trading room, make sure you come tomorrow, because we are going to do a Zoom meeting outside of the trading room, just so we can have an open conversation about a number of things that I want to do. So we're actually starting, this is potentially going to get a rejection here at the 40. The next update, we got a minute 10 to go. So this is the way that I see the world here, folks, just so you know. When you're day trading here, we're trading above the 200. We've got some decent, you can see these little webbed, all these lines are linear regressions. These are telling us that there is a slight uptrend. There is an angle of attack that's unfolding in here. And that's what the PPMs, if we can get a turn back above here, some acceleration, we could see a secondary trend. And then let me redraw something here. You're getting these little mini trends here. So you could argue there was 5 waves up here. Maybe we get A, B, C, and there's more work in this pattern here. And then ultimately we can move up. My goal up here is that 46, 48, maybe higher level. Here we are trading the 40 again. This is a new high on the 5-minute chart. We're seeing the PPM1 start to peek through its first derivative here for the first time. And we've got what? We just got the new update. So this is getting some follow through, and you're seeing PPM2 starting to accelerate. And so we're definitely getting some acceleration. Here's 43, looking 47 to 50 is going to be my target range here. Still have not, by the way, still have not gotten any fib targets. Let me look at, I got to get rid of this indicator. All right, so I'm going to blow this up just a little bit so you can see it. There are some, I have 2 fib target ranges on here. And so this is a really nice surge. What would we hit up onto? We got the 45, almost to my 47 target. There's something I want to point out here is we have some fib projections on what we call the power of 8. And let me just show you what you can do here just real quick. So this is set on strength of 8. So it recognizes different patterns. The algorithm that's in here is a pattern recognition tool, and it's marking high lows, it's marking pivots if I put the pivots on, it'll get too cluttered on the screen. But we're now trading, so I can change this strength. And if you can adjust to the market you're trading. So if you're trading a stock, but I mean, look at this nice run right up in here. So this was pretty recognizable pattern that set up here. This was really a nice pattern. We've got, you'll see pivots that are coming in at different levels. I'll mark them out. So we're trading RTX, but here's the thing. On the Pattern Finder 8, we have current price objectives of 69, 41.83, and 92 on the screen on this 5-minute graph. Let me draw these in so you can see them. So we purposely put in the pattern of 4, which recognizes a tighter pattern. Matter of fact, I'll show that to you here in a minute, because I'm going to go for about another 25 minutes. But this was a really nice setup. Basically went not just short of the 47 number. Still think we've got some more upside. We'll see if we can get the update on, we got 2 minutes before we get an update on the 5. But let's just take a look here real quick. This is PPM1. I'm sorry, not PPM1. This is the price objective 1, price objective 2, and 3, and that's these numbers over here on the right. So it's projecting that this pattern that happened right here, that pattern I was drawing, this is a larger pattern that is projecting at least to 69, which, by the way, would be a new high on the session. You folks know from watching the YouTube channel that I am basically believing that we have a low coming in here. It'd be too easy to go short and make money down here. The hard trade is going long, and I've got a lot of people telling me I'm wrong. So we'll see how this plays out over the next several days. Still moving up toward that 46. Notice that on the webs, they have this upward. Now we're starting to get some crossovers. My expectation is that we will get some kind of pattern to set up here, that it will be a resistance pattern. And we're in the final hour, so I'm going to not quite go to the close. I'll go until 1/2 the hour. So let's So I just want to zero in on this 5-minute. You see this nice surge, but this is what I was drawing in just a bit ago, is this pattern here. That's what we were anticipating. There it is. Everything was starting to set up. Like I said, the probabilities at that time, the way that the configuration of the PPMs were in this overall block pattern here. See, I think I can draw this a little better. If we look at this whole pattern right here, the PPMs were all showing a bias to the upside. So probabilities were suggesting that this pivot or something like it would start to happen. So this is the 47. It's kind of hard to draw with a mouse. And then we get into this upward range here. So this, we'll call this the upward band of the range here. If we can get up into above this pivot zone right here, then we should be able to trade into maybe a retest of the high of the session. Listen, we're coming into some pretty big data, and if nothing else, this short covering rally, something looks like it wants to push up on. Yeah, so yeah. I I did call the SPX to 43.20 to be exact, and went to 27. And listen, the pullback from there was pretty good. I won't show you the trade station stuff, but we did get an exit on the trade, but you can see we're still trading higher in this pattern. So I'm kind of back and forth here, but yeah, we did get a really nice trade and move up into that 43 handle. I'm now calling for 44, maybe even a 45 handle. And a lot of the bias that's going to yeah, Craig, it sounds like it's a misspelling. I'll have to take a look at that. But we still have this bias here on the you see these webs are still going up. And this is going to draw the markets higher. We've got nice angle of attack here on the webs. We're almost trading on the 5-minute, almost trading R3. There's 47. This was the target earlier, was that 47 to 50 handle. So we're getting there. I think this is a much bigger pattern that's setting up where we'll probably see potentially, I don't know, we're getting short on time now, but we could see at least a retest of the highs of the day and possibility of making a new high. Yeah, we only are on TradingView right now. Unfortunately, I see folks asking about NinjaTrader and Thinkorswim, but only on TradingView. We're trading just about we're trading R2 on the 5-minute over here on the left-hand side. Like I said, it looks like the grid is about to go into what I call a box formation. And I'll draw in on the 1 minute where we get some kind of range like this where we start to go up. Now, what will change this is if on the next update, which is going to happen in 20 seconds, if the grid turns up again. So we'll see what happens here. We are 876. We're trading above RTX here on the 1. There's the update. It did turn up. So we still have some upward bias going here. Like I said, we're right at this pivot level here. And we haven't gotten great just to talk about what's going on with the PPMs down here. PPM 1, you have to move this decimal over, so it's 0.175, not quite trend mode, and it's starting to stall a little bit. Like I said, my expectation, we're probably going to get maybe some kind of pattern to set up here, because we've got 45 minutes to go, and maybe we set up. I got a lot of stuff going on here. Let me just can all this. But, you know, we probably get some kind of range set up in here, and you see the webs will set up in here. But this was the target for that swing trade that I talked about earlier. It was a perfect setup. We initially got the fib targets here on the 1 up to the 200, and then the follow through on the upside. I think we're going to stall here. We just got a 1 minute update. The grid starting to stall a little bit. The 10-period moving average is starting to roll over. That's indicated here on PPM 1 is actually correct. So that means we're going to test. Here we are testing the 10. We'll probably go through it. And way down here at, this is where the 21 is, it's actually starting to fail as well. Everything's starting to roll over. So I think what we see here, let me clean this up. What we're starting to see here is probably some kind of consolidation, maybe back to the 21 on the 5 minute, something like that. But we should see some sort of penetration. When this PPM crossed its second derivative here, that suggested that we would challenge the 10, and the 10 is still kind of rolling over, and I'm drawing in some arrows here. I'm going to draw in what's potentially going to happen with these linear regressions is they get what we call a veil top, and they start to do this, and the market trades into those values. There's still a really strong bid here, so it's not going away. So, matter of fact, the webs are turning back up, so this is becoming a bullish pattern. What do we've got here? At 8 seconds to go, we'll see if the grid turns up again. Let me change the scaling just a little bit. Yeah, the grid did turn up. So we still have that upward slope, looking for the potential of the PPMs to reaccelerate. The 5 minute, how long we got there? Got a minute 40 to go in the next update. So just trading 47.48. Target on that swing trade was 4. Yeah, Jeff, it's kind of interesting. That's something that I think I talked about last night. The oil stocks may be a driver for keep the markets going, even though folks think oil inflation, all that kind of stuff. There's not that tight of correlation, I don't think, on this stuff right now. But yeah, so this pattern just keeps unfolding here. This is pretty amazing. And like I said, if we come up here, we've got a 69 target on the upside, which the high was, it's like 58 over here. Oh, okay. So if you look on the one thing that's kind of cool on TradingView is you can see where the last quote is in a box here. See if I can find it. Let me draw it in so you can see it. Yeah, over right here in this box, it'll go red and green as it goes positive. It's showing 48 seconds to go in the 1 minute. Over here, we just got an update. And look at the acceleration we're getting. We're at 0.30. We're in trend mode on this 10 period moving average now. So we're starting to see some acceleration in PPM1 down here below. And is 69 real? I don't know. I still think we're getting a little tired over here on the 1. You can see everything's starting to roll. We just took out the 10. And I think ultimately we come down to some kind of pattern here. And maybe we see a veil pattern. Let me show you. Over here, you can see this is a veil where we got the webs that roll over on the top right over here. And that ended up being the downtrend. It looks like we're trying to set up a veil right here on the 1 minute at the moment. You can see we're starting to get this veil. We trade back in, and we may see a rollover. It could come all the way back over here to in between the 21 and 40 here. So we would get maybe some bar patterns. Where we got it's starting to move down. So we're going to go down to the 21. You see PPM1 is accelerating to the downside here. PPM2 has some reasonable momentum, so we should trade down to that level. And then I'll just keep drawing things in so you can see what's going on here. But we're starting to get that veil setting up. And typically when we get one of those, we're heading all the way back. You know, we're going to see a move back toward this type of level. So that was the trade up to 47, 48. We're just seeing it stall here. So that's about all she gave on that. Whether we get another pattern that sets up with the over on the left-hand side here where the 5-minute is, you can see we still have trend mode here, and that I'll draw this in on the color. So this is where this 10-period moving average is going to come in. Now we got 1 minute, 53 seconds to go on the next close here. We'll see how it all rolls up. We're seeing the on the 1 minute chart, we're seeing it roll into some of these arrows and stuff that I've drawn in here. So you can see this is more or less the pattern, and maybe what we're about to get here is something like this, where the market's going to trade down and ultimately head in to some of these levels. And on the 1 minute, I'm just trying to draw in and anticipate. So we use the red. This is the 10. We're trading below it, where it'll start to do this. We'll use this 21 period moving average. Will come down, and then so we're trading to the 21 right now. It's still got a decent slope. That 0.07, probably not enough to hold it. Like I said, we're probably looking at a pattern that's going to do something like this and head toward this period moving average, which is going to be very close, going over on the other side of the screen now to the 5-minute, and be very close to coming to this 10-period moving average. As we come in here, that 10 average is going to be here, which is going to be representative, very similar values to the 40. And everything that I've designed here on 1 and 5, if you go to my daily analysis, daily, weekly, monthly, the 10-week moving average is somewhat similar to the 40-day moving average, and all the averages, the charts are related. So when you're doing a multivariate analysis, you have some context of some larger degrees of charts. Now we're seeing PPM1 over here on the right, on the 1 minute. It's trying to turn up a little bit over here. We need all this stuff to accelerate, and we're right on the 21, so we're holding at the moment. I still have a feeling we end up down in this range here somewhere in these averages kind of coming in, and we end up in this range. We can get a quick vault if we're just going to go into the final half hour. Where are we at here? Yeah, about 5 more minutes. So I'm going to try to shut things down. So we're starting to trade below that 21. Yeah, Final, I'll be talking about future of the live trading room. So trading below that, we are getting a bit of a veil on this, where these are starting to roll over. And like I said, we're probably going to head down into this range right here. And you can see over on the 5-minute, we're starting to come into that 5-minute range of that 10-minute. 10-minute, I'll get it straight yet, 10-period moving average on the 5-minute. And what's happening on over here on PPM1, we're starting to see it's now below trend level. It's at 0.18. So we're seeing it fade. The 40 is still down. Very easily, we end up back at these levels, maybe even coming all the way back to the 200 period moving average on the 1. But you can see we're moving toward that 40 right now. That's what I was talking about a little bit ago. There we are, almost to the 40, almost to the 10 on the 5. We should have some reasonable support right here. The value's at 43. We're trading 45 right now. A little bit of a bounce off of the 40 here on the 1. So we should set some things up. We actually have a pivot up here at 48 now. You'll see these red dots up above. Those are your pivot. We trade above that, then we get a big surge coming into the close. Yeah, Jeff Harden, that would be the ultimate buy. 40.80, 40.60, 40.40. I don't know if they're going to give that away. May not be a bargain sale. Somebody's asking, why can't we get the buy and sell signals on TradingView? Because TradingView does not have the abilities which to do the logic that is running inside of our models. We actually have a module that's being called TradeStation doesn't even have the ability. We had to write a module to get values and bring them into TradeStation to tell them when they were valid or not valid so we could do the signals. So unfortunately, who was it that asked that? M129 Keyline. Yeah, so that's why they're not available. Yeah, Jeffrey Wu, I can tell you there's some announcements coming. About the ability which to adapt software to some other retail broker. There's definitely some things in play. So we came down to the 40 and getting a little bounce, trying to get to that pivot. We get above the pivot at 48, then we're probably going to run to the highs of the session. Yes, Steve Weiser, I don't know that we're doing those anymore, but we're going to be bringing in some Wavetech and some PX stuff again. I'm going to be involved in some of that as well. So it's getting to that point in time again that we're going to want to be using the portfolio manager to manage the money again. We've been in this soft area probably for the last 6-8 weeks. Yeah, good, Lawrence. Good deal, man. Well, good, folks. I think that accomplished what I wanted to actually do today for you guys. A lot of folks have been asking about day trade setups, haven't been in the live room, so you get kind of a feel of the thought process. I kind of walk you through how the patterns are setting up and how you can start to read these indicators. And I'll do some more of these sessions just randomly here and there as we go forward. And there is going to be some, like I said, some advanced course. Right now there's 9 videos, goes through a lot of the basics. There's going to be an advanced, especially on the PPMs. I could probably do maybe 4 or 5, who knows how many videos could be done on the PPMs. There's quite a few different setups, but for the most part, the ones that are out there will certainly get you going. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a 5th wave down. I'm not sure that exists, not in my account. But anyway, I believe we're in a larger ABC, not in any kind of impulse wave. Anyway, yeah, so Kevin, it does change a little bit here. 0.25 is the trend mode on any chart for the most part. And if you're looking at intraday on the indicators, you have to move the decimal 1 to the right. And I'm doing a study right now that is looking at the best way to put this, looking at the values, whether you should be moving the decimal the other way when you're at, for instance, like when you're at some of these big numbers at 2.5. Anyway, I'll explain that when there's some things. But 0.25 across the board is actually a trend mode. And if you've seen the probability chart, that's something that that's in the course. I have the probability chart, and that's a basic chart which I'm going to be expanding some of the expectations and probabilities on that. But here we are, we're right at that pivot. So we're taking out the pivot. I wouldn't be surprised at all that we trade up toward the high of the day and see if we can't get the markets to close up. I think we'll be well over 42 handle very soon. And I think there's a lot of folks going to be disappointed looking for downside. So we'll as they say, we shall see. But I'll see you folks tonight on YouTube. Hopefully you found this useful, and I'll just come up full screen. So yeah, make sure that you hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Make some comments on what you'd like me to do on little sessions like this on education. Glad to do them. We've done a couple Saturday morning stuff. I'm more than glad to do a lot of stuff. I definitely want this documented out there since we do have a fair amount of folks using the indicators, I want to continue to do that. And ultimately, I'd love to have some kind of blog that we were able to, other than YouTube channel and chat like what we're doing right now, where we could actually document some of the things that you folks are finding that works as well. So I want to get something together for that, because I think as a community we can do a lot. And that's by the way, the whole point of getting these indicators out there is to build a community awareness and to bring in, from me giving back a lot of these techniques and things that you have to realize. In 1984 was when we started the PPMs, and we were using a platform called CompuTrack. It was the first platform out there that you could actually program your own indicators. So we started it way back 84, 86, and this kind of evolved over the last almost 4 decades since then, of technology increases and things that we can do. But the bottom line is that's all we got. These are, I'm looking at this, folks, real quick. We're getting new highs on this pattern. We're at 50, 50, and all of a sudden we're starting to surge. So look for a retest of the high of the session, possibly going out. I don't know that we get to 41.69. We get some kind of squeeze here. I don't think anyone wants to come in tomorrow short. We'll see. All right, folks. We'll see you on the usual time. I try to do stuff at 9:30, but it's getting closer to 10 o'clock Eastern time every night anymore, just by the time I get ready. But anyway, folks, have a great rest of your day. Good luck finishing your session off, and I'll see you tonight at the usual time. Remember to hit that like button. Yeah, actually, Pope, Pepe, that is exactly what I want to do. That's one of the things I'm going to be discussing, is to get some other folks out there and trainers. Yes, that's an awesome idea. We've been talking about that. We actually have several people I'm aware of that are very proficient. So, yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Putting some kind of blog where we can chat. I guess I have a Discord account. I guess I could do that, right? That's certainly a possibility. Trading 51.50, so they're surging. I think 58 was a high. So we're definitely going to look like they're going to print them up here coming into the last 20 minutes. Yeah, folks, I already have a Discord account. I just have not. We used it in the beginning before we got the trading room. And actually, even the potential is to do a free trading room. And that's behind the firewall, and it's not out there, and there'll be no spam. That's what we do. I will look into that. That's a great idea. Yeah, there might have to be a small fee if we get too many people, because I have to pay per head over a certain number. So we'll work out something, but that's the best place, because there's going to be zero spam there. Zero. So anyway, yeah, that's a great idea. That's what we're doing. Make sure, if you guys have access to the live room, make sure you come tomorrow. We'll get started on time, and we'll get everybody in the room, and I'll put out a Zoom link, because I seriously want to have a conversation with a bunch of you. Yeah, anybody, I want to hear from everyone I can. So look forward to it. All right. See you folks tonight.